And look at Randy Orton slithering.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out! KO! Here's the cover.
Hey, what's up everyone, and we're back here with a vid finally. This time a little different and not a video type that I'd like to do a lot of, but I kind of felt it was necessary to at least address it since it kind of impacts a lot of what I play very heavily, it seems. And it's for the upcoming event that's this weekend with the vision test, and just kind of my thought process behind it and why I don't really like it, honestly. But I'll preference that with, I do appreciate all the testing they're doing. It is nice to see that. Like I said, I'm a huge proponent of the +1, -1, even limiting the platoon size and stuff like that, the limited RNG. This one I'm personally not a fan of at all. And there's some pretty decent reasons, I suppose. And this game we're going to talk about the game too a little bit at the end, hopefully. I'm not going to be an entire rant video because it's not what I like to do usually. But at least let to inform you guys of what's going on with this thing this weekend, and hopefully maybe you can succeed in it or not succeed in it, I don't know. But kind of jump into it a little bit with what this test is going to be. So with the normal spotting mechanics, you're not really lit up until somebody actually spots you. Your tank is not visible to the enemy until you're actually spotted and then lit up consistently. With this test, all the tanks, enemy and friendly, of course, are always going to be visible. So what does that mean? It basically means that how spotting is going to work now, at least for this weekend, this 4-day period that is going to go into effect on Friday, is once a tank comes within your view range, is that it will get that red outline and the ability to auto-lock onto it now. But if you're in the open at any distance and you're in line of sight for somebody's eyes, they can see you. They can't auto-lock onto you until they're within that range, that view range, and get spotted. But you will always be visible to the enemy team if you're not using buildings for cover, bushes, stuff like that, where that kind of conceals your tank. But you will always be visible in that regard. So you won't be spotted, but you will be visible, if that kind of makes sense. So you won't have that red outline around you the entire time, but your tank will be visible. And I don't like this idea at all. It makes it very War Thunder-esque, which is fine for that game. It's more of a simulation game, more or less, versus War Tanks has always been more arcade, and I feel like this is kind of a test in response to a lot of folks maybe not understanding the game mechanics themselves, of how spotting and all that works overall. So I don't like the idea of doing this. It's okay if you do, it's fine. I just personally do not at all. It's basically going to make a lot of situations very, very difficult and much slower pace in some regard, and kind of hard to take some really key spots on maps. And it's going to really negatively affect tanks like light tanks and scouts that rely a lot on their camo and vision to do well, versus now on maps they're always going to be visible to the enemy team, especially if they're like active scouting. So I don't like that at all, as a very heavy light tank player, as you all know, I guess. So I'm not really looking forward to doing that and always being able to be seen, unless I'm sitting in a bush. So yeah, and where you're going to see this really it is an issue, at least I think, is on maps where you have to cross positions that rely on scouts to spot. So something like Lakeville, if you're trying to go across the field on Lakeville in, say, like an E100 or kind of a heavy tank or something like that this weekend, or Mountain Pass, for example, you're not going to be technically maybe spotted, but you're always going to be lit and very, very easy shots for the average player. So it basically makes trying to take those positions almost suicidal, honestly, in anything that's kind of really big and obvious to hit. And even fast tanks like this are going to be easier to hit in those positions because they're not lit up, spotted, but they're always going to be able to be seen making those kind of aggressive pushes to get into key positions. So I don't like the idea of this at all. It means you can get hit from like 700 meters away if somebody can see you. Which the argument against or why this is, it's so hard to see stuff with just your eyes, and I guess, but that also plays into like a disadvantage for the average player. Not everybody has great eyesight. I mean, honestly, it's not really something that I immediately thought about making this video, but it's kind of unfair in that regard. I mean, that probably is a normal impact anyways, but if you have like eyes like a hawk, and you can spot people a lot easier than somebody who probably has vision issues or medical issues like that. So not really a huge, I don't know, I can't really be a proponent for that. That makes it kind of even more unfair. So yeah, just not really my way of thinking. I don't really like that, to be fair. So yeah, that's the main issue I see with it, at least personally. It's going to make gameplay much slower, very War Thunder-esque. I mean, this game is very not that game at all, and I don't want it to be that game at all. And it's just, I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of this. I know it's just a test. I know it's not permanent. Hopefully it isn't. And I do like the testing they've done in the past year or so, 6 months, 7 months, even the +1 -1 test last year, I guess. But just overall, this one, not a huge fan, personally. So we'll have to see how that goes. Also, I'm a little concerned about how this works. There's apparently more details about this coming up, so we'll see. I don't want to make all the judgments on it quite yet, but I'm a little concerned if Artie has this too. I don't know. Again, if Artie can see every tank all the time, even without them being spotted, yeah, I'm not playing this weekend. But I don't know about that yet. I haven't got any details about what's going to impact with the SPGs, so gonna wait to hold my judgment on that. Don't take what I just said for granted. It could be totally wrong, but if it is, there's no way I'm playing. No way. So get into the gameplay a little bit and off the rants, because I don't like ranting. It's not my thing. So this game's been pretty close so far in the Sheridan. We've racked up quite a little bit of damage so far already, 4,800, and now we're kind of running, I don't want to say low on ammo in the Sheridan, which is unsurprising, I guess. Or it should be surprising, I guess, because it has infinite ammo for a light tank, at least it seems at tier 10. But right now we're fighting a very hard battle with a lot of very healthy tier 10 tanks that are very healthy. Fortunately getting lit up there. The only one that's not very healthy is the Valor, who's about a 2-shot or 3-shot, depending on rules. Most likely a 3-shot. Versus all we have left is an Artie and a some heavy tank. And at this point, we really have to try to win this game based off of vision, because that's the only advantage we have at this point, as Artie does nuke that guy, but the 277 that was alive gets taken out, unfortunately. So it's just me and an Artie, and our only advantage at this point is our maneuverability, I guess 2, and camo at 3, and view range, which we're on a map that benefits us there on steps, and that's good for us, as we're able to spot these guys at 400 meters. We shouldn't really get lit up here, especially if we start using some of these bushes in the middle. We really shouldn't get spotted here as long as we pull back, spot them through, and see if we can't put some shots into them. Our Artie is actually moving, which is good. Put one into the Valor, again making good use of the bushes here to fall back. Our Artie slams one into the Jaegeru, which is very nice, because it means we don't have to deal with that tier 10 German heavy. I'd like to get the Valor out because he's probably the fastest and quickest. He's also the lowest health, so duh. But we've now only got heat rounds left with 280 heat pen. 60 TP takes out our T92. Unfortunately, it didn't fall back quite enough, or couldn't fall back quite enough. And you see we're just using the bushes. Jaeger knows about where I'm at, a general idea, but he can't spot me through this bush. And he's angling very well here. We do put another one through the weak lower plate of the A group, but we get spotted by the 60 TP, I believe, to our right. So now it's got to kind of dip out of here. This isn't ideal in this endgame scenario. I'd rather actually have the side of the map as we are going to do a full Neo and just barely dodge that shot. I'd rather have the side of the map they're on in a light tank. Ooh, God, voice break from hell. But that's where I'd rather have because it offers a lot more vision and a better firing position all across that ridgeline. Versus this side is very much the low ground and you feel kind of cornered very easily. Versus that other side, it feels like it's just better sight lines. I'll just put it that way. So now we're in unfavorable kind of positioning here. We're up to 6,700 damage, maybe a little bit more. I don't know if I have any blind shots while I was doing my best impression of somebody else. And at this point, I really wish I hadn't been spotted there because I could have probably poked out and maybe killed the Yag. But the Valor is just coming straight across. If he comes right at me solo, it wouldn't be bad. Honestly, probably could have just waited for him and let him do that. Maybe could have kept going that way. But the issue with that is we had two tanks headed right to our cap. And I don't want to get capped out. So we have to go back and defend. And try to do a little bit of misplay, try to make him look like we're going the other way, and maybe he'll start going all the way around the map. Who knows? But at this point, we have to defend the base. It's 1 versus 4. It's unfortunate. I don't want to do that because it takes us out of what I really want to do and takes the, I guess the advantage out of my ball, out of my court, as 60 TP is firing AG. Not the best choice against the Sheridan. You'd have to hit my turret basically to pen him. He does hit me though, leaving me on a one shot, which is unfortunate. But we do finish him off, and it means that basically any of these tanks can kill me at this point. We only have 8 shells left too, so hypothetically this game's really not winnable, I don't think, because the Panzer 7 or the VK, whichever one it is, I don't know. Yeah, Panzer 7 is still on 2,500 hit points, so I can't really, unless I get a fire, I can't really kill him and the Jaeger and the Valor unless I get a high roll, and unfortunately, yeah, we get shut down by the Panzer 7 as we try to run away. Could have given us a little bit better chance here to run away if we'd positioned our tank facing backwards, like I so often do. So I could have ran away much quicker and not had to try to turn the tank around. But that still would have been a very, very tough one to win anyways. And getting the kill on the Jaeger would have helped a ton. We did load an HE shell for him to try to splash him at one point on his engine deck since he was on such low health. He was the only tank really pen with that shell anyways, so or do anything effective with in the end game scenario regardless. Maybe could have just reset the Panzer 7, I don't know. But it's probably the most, I think that is the most damage I've ever done in the Sheridan. Fortunately it's a loss, but we tried our best to try to pull that one out. And yeah, a really enjoyable game to play. I wish I could have just done a whole video on it, but I don't want to just do that every single time. And I feel like covering the topic for this weekend is helpful for you all so you understand what's going to happen. Hopefully it made sense, and hopefully you enjoyed. And we'll catch you all later. See ya. Peace.